We're now live. Hi, everybody. Welcome back for Wednesday Wisdom. And this series that is called Wednesday Women, where we bring on a guest and we talk about who our role models were for women's empowerment. We do a little mindfulness time together, and then at the end, we pull a card. Oh, great. This is happening. Usually, this is the time of the recording where you fast forward because we have the tech stuff, but Jennifer is on it today. Let's see if it works today. Okay, I waved. I don't know. There we go.
Hello, can you see me?
I can see you. Yay. Hi. I never know. I always say that. I'm like, each time.
Uh, Thanks so much for inviting me on. This is so much fun.
Oh, no, it is my pleasure. This whole series has been great, and I've been really looking forward to you coming on because you are such an inspirational coach. I love all the stuff that you're doing. I feel so lucky to have gotten to know you. So,
Ditto.
well, I'll do a little
Right.
intro of why we do. Oh, thanks. So Wednesday Wisdom was something I used to do by myself, where I'd come on and do a little bit of mindfulness, kind of a midweek hump day, just like resettling. And then now we've had all these guests come on that share um, sort of their empowerment journey. And I know you're another coach that does a lot of empowerment work with women in so many different ways. And I'll let you know, I met Jennifer through another kind of coaching group, and it's been like kismet right away. We went, I think, to see the Luminary show in New York City.
Yeah,
Was that Clint?
that was
I forget which
the
one that
quick
was.
one. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
so cool.
And just had lunch and like like everything connecting. So we've kept in touch over time that way. So I'd love to hear you kind of share a little more about the work that you do.
Yeah. I do remember that moment where I was like, "What are you wearing?" And I was like, "I'm like, I think that's you." In that, like, it was like a rainy day, but yeah, it was kind of like a little bit of a blind date. I
Yeah,
loved it.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
Totally.
yeah, this
Uh,
works. Um, so yeah, I am a coach. I'm a sacred leadership coach, and I work with the most amazing women. Yeah, I just work with high achieving women who are like on this endless cycle of autopilot, we call it, where they're just feeling frustrated or overwhelmed, and and they're like, they've really gotten to this level of success in their life, and they kind of are looking around being like, I don't know if I want this anymore. Right. So it's like, I want something more. I don't even know what the more is. So I really help high achieving women just wake up from autopilot and create their most juicy, intentional, sacred life. I call it their pinch me life.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's
And
amazing.
that's so amazing because I feel like, and we have high achievement in all corners of our life, and career can be one of them. Our relationships, like I don't know if I identify as the high achiever, but I am
Yeah,
like going for it all the time. Where we are that autopilot, like I completely relate to that. Where and for my own journey, where it led to burnout, and I think because I wasn't in alignment with where I needed to go next.
totally.
Maybe I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I mean, and for me too, like I was in advertising for 15 years,
Mhm.
and I was I was going on this treadmill that it felt like it was going faster and faster and faster every day. My job was so intense. I was trying to come up with, really creative, amazing ideas every single day. Um, and it was a lot, when I was dating. And looking for my romantic partner. I feel like
Mhm.
I went on like 6 dates a week.
Gosh, that's high achieving.
It was I was like on a track, and I had these like blinders on of like, I have to keep moving so fast to
Hmm.
get what and and it was just like, it was way too much. I had many cycles of burnout along that, understandably, and it was just too hard, and I see so many women just saying, I don't even know what's wrong, but I know something is, and I don't want to be on that loop anymore.
Mm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I can totally relate. And I think that some of the women that maybe some of my audience that ask questions about that. It's so not unique,
Yeah.
right? Like it's this, and I feel lucky that, yes, we have social media, and yes, there's a huge kind of uh, landscape of options for us to explore that,
Yeah.
and just kind of see what is really connecting for me, and the way to start seeing what's next for me, or why I'm feeling just this general discontent, like something's not right type of thing.
Yes, something's not right. I don't know what it is. I don't even know how to fix it. And so I'll just keep going, right? I think that
Yeah.
that's the general consensus of what people do. And I
Mhm.
think it's so important to have those moments or those friends or those people that empower you to say, wait a minute, what's going
Mhm.
on? I remember
Mhm.
I had a friend that I would call from these conference rooms. I book out conference rooms and just cry or vent, or I didn't know
Mhm.
what to do.
Mhm.
And she just said to me once, this is like my best friend, okay, when are you gonna leave? Like, when are you gonna
Mhm.
leave your job? And when are you gonna do something else? And I was like, pause. I didn't even know that that was an option. I know that that sounds
Yeah.
ridiculous.
No, you're right.
But I was like, I actually didn't know that that was an option. So,
Right. I think that's what I love about us talking about, like, who are those pivotal people, those women that just kind of opened our eyes to these,
yes.
like, oh my gosh, I never considered plan C of an option of the way to do this.
Yeah.
And those are magical moments. Those are like our little guides that happen in life. And we are those people, because it's like, even in friendships, you just never
Yeah.
even realize
Yeah.
how we can offer that perspective, and continue to do that for each other. But anyway, for today, let's start out as we usually do. If you wouldn't mind, if you'd lead us into some kind of just, I love doing the centering so that even people watching this or watching the replay later, that you can take a moment and really be here right now, as Eckhart told us, be here now in this moment. So send it over to you.
Okay. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
So, if you feel comfortable and if you feel like you're in a space where you can, close your eyes or lower your gaze. I will do the same. And put your feet firmly rooted on the ground. Put your hands face down somewhere on your body if you want more grounding, or face up if you want receiving. And let's take 3 big deep breaths in. A big deep breath in, holding it at the top, and letting it go with a big sigh. Another big deep breath in, this time calling in all your breath from the tips and the roots of your feet, all the way through your body, holding it at the top and letting it all go. And one more big deep breath in, calling in all your breath, all the energy from the roots of your feet, all the way up through your legs, through your torso, through your lungs, through your body, and let it all go. With your eyes remaining closed, imagine someone who has empowered you in your life. This might be yourself, this might be someone close to you, or this might be someone that you don't even know. So I just want you to hold that person in your mind and in your heart, and give them a little love, a little bow of gratitude as we continue our conversation. Feel free to open your eyes and come back to our space.
That was lovely. Thank you.
Yep.
It's amazing every time we do that, like the whole energy just shifts completely, or at least for me. I get a little wired. And we're back. So I'm just gonna go right into it. I'm really looking forward to hearing some of your answers. So a few of our guests that we've had come on, there's definitely been a trend. It's often, women that we know very personally in our life that are the women that were the empowerment role models. Either they empowered us directly or we witnessed them, and it really encouraged or opened that potential, right? That thought that we never even thought of, that we could be within ourselves. And I mentioned very early on in this house, sometimes it was, I had a really hard boss at one time that was in the city when I lived there doing advertising as well. And I was like, I know the anti of this is what I will be. So I would love to hear, Jennifer, some of your women.
Yeah. And when you brought this topic, I mean, the first person that came to my mind, obviously, she's very, very close to my heart, is my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like your mother's your very first relationship, period, end of story. And it's like, it's a relationship that I hold very, very close. My mom passed about 3.5 years ago, and we had such an interesting relationship. The thing that I really, really loved about her is that she was my champion. She was a champion for me, for my desires, for what I wanted. And it was just so beautiful to see. Even when I was like a child, I was like, making little things and like little clay, and she's like, we're gonna do this for real. Like we're gonna send you to like a really intense pottery class. I ended up like getting a little booth and selling some of my like art and my jewelry, but all because my mom was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, right? She was the person that like got me my first like 4 internships, and like she was like my manager, and she was a champion. She saw pieces in me, and the thing was that she didn't just like nurture them in me. She helped me know that I was really, really good at them. She helped me trust myself and learn to really understand my own strengths, and like nurtured them in a way that is like this like intangible thing that I just really, really admire. But definitely like looking at her, I see like this champion uh, of things that she loved, things that she desired, and I was clearly one of them. And she was also like such a lover of life. She was probably the most creative people that I know. She was always starting businesses in her head. Like, and then suddenly we'd like see something. She'd be like, I thought of that business. And it was just like, she had this like full on creativity mode all the time. She wanted more out of life. She wanted to have fun with people. She wanted to play. She wanted to like experience things. She's always making up songs. I feel like she like, I don't know if like this was like unintentionally something that like had to do with me going into advertising originally, but she would like constantly make up jingles. Like for like anything, she'd pick up a pen and be like, start singing a song about a jingle for a pen. And it was just so fun. She had this like lighthearted energy, really was creative, inspiring, kind, and I'd say like a true champion for me, my dad, and all my desires. So
Do you
yeah.
remember any of those jingles? Was it like 1980s, like da da da? Like
No, it was totally that. Like in the pandemic, there's this ice cream shop that was like not too far from us, but I wouldn't let her go in, and it would almost be this like running joke because it was like in the pandemic, like we're not going anywhere. So we would drive by this ice cream place, and it was called Birdie's, this like little thing. She'd go, "Do you want to go to Birdie's?" Tweet, tweet. And let's go to Birdie's, tweet, tweet, tweet. It was just like so silly and fun, and we just like giggled all the time together. It was great. Yeah.
I'm hearing so much that like, I was writing a little bit because I've been like growing this list of the
Yeah.
traits that, you see in people. And I think you've been listening, right? This love of life,
Yes.
this champion and this person that just sees in me what maybe I hadn't seen
Yeah.
in that way,
Yeah.
as the things that get our attention. And
Hmm.
you're so right. That relationship with our mother, as complicated as it can be at times. And I know some people have really hard mother relationships, but it's like it almost like encourages us to look for other mother figures in our life. Like if we don't have it from the one we grew up with, maybe. And I don't, I'm looking back now, and my mother's great, and she's great. Mom, you're great. I love her. But how we do have these mother
Yeah.
figures that also come along
Yeah.
and guide us with some of that energy and those traits of like, oh my gosh, like that's somebody who's super nurturing, and or even teachers.
Yeah.
I think somebody was mentioning that too, how they
Yeah.
have that nurturing, giving us that thing. I don't, do you feel like
Yeah.
that's something that women really need a lot, is other women empowerment? And of course we know yes, but what do you think are some of the traits that would be helping other women to empower other women?
I think, like, I mean, championing is one of them. I think curiosity is another. And I think the kindest thing that you can say to someone is, tell me more,
Yeah.
right? Like, really just like leaning in and saying, tell me more. What, what's underneath that? Tell me more. What do you love about that? What do you not? What do you want to experience more of in life? I
Mm,
think that, like, when you're like a real champion for someone else, there's almost this energy of like not just championing for the things that they already have, but I think that there's like this special sauce about championing for things that they don't have yet,
mhm,
and like
mhm,
really honoring someone's desires for something,
mhm.
because there are so, like, I've been at I've been at brunch, I've been at moments. I remember in college I was telling a few of my friends what I wanted to do, and I said, I want to go into advertising. And one friend looked at me and she said, you wouldn't be good at that.
Mm.
And I was like, I didn't even know what to say.
Yeah.
That lit a fire in me to
Mm.
both seek out people who said to me, tell me more.
Mhm.
What do you want to do with that? What's exciting about advertising? What do you think you'd be really good at? What do you love about that? What do you not know yet? Right? Not just a straight up like, oh no, you wouldn't be good at that. And that's like a dramatic, like,
Yeah.
but I've always really seeked intimate friendships, intimate relationships with people who can both hold joy and hold depth.
Mm.
So I think that that's kind of a secret sauce about like empowerment and friendships that can like hold this experience of both what you have in your life and what you don't have yet,
Mm.
and how to like help you trust yourself and champion yourself to say, I do want that. I do trust myself that I can get that. I'm excited for something that I don't even have yet, and I don't really know what that's about. But when you
Mm.
say tell me more, it opens up conversation. What do you think?
Yes, and a question just popped into my head as you were saying that, and I want to throw this in our circles. Like when you think about, I feel like when I was moving around with kids and we were expats for a while and stuff like this, and I
Yeah.
felt like I was really missing the village of empowering women to have around me. Like
Hmm.
it took a long time to connect. I'm here in New Jersey, and I feel like I've definitely got some amazing chicks to just kind of lean on, and abroad, and you in New York City. Like it's happening, but it took me time to
Yeah.
get clear on like who are the people that are going to be my village. What do you suggest is a way, if somebody is maybe on the path of doing some change in their own work and themselves, and they feel that they're looking for just another village of women to kind of connect with and build them up, and to have that where they can have that real natural exchange of supporting each other. What do you think about that? Like, I mean, I don't think I ever figured it out. I think it just took time, but I would love to hear your opinion.
I mean, still figuring it out, right? Like
Yeah.
different seasons of our lives that we go through. And I talk to clients about this all the time. I don't think I've ever had a client who we haven't had the girlfriend conversation where it's like, how do I really like create more of these sacred friendships in my
Mm-hmm.
life where I feel really loved and supported and held and safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think you can find someone anywhere. But I think the most likely place is when you bring yourself into a place that you're vulnerable and that you actually are experiencing something. I think shared
Mhm.
experiences like deep experiences help people to really take that wall down, drop into themselves and drop into others, like actually allow themselves to be open to having different types of conversations that they probably would before. I definitely have met people at a coffee shop by being like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Tell me more. But I think that's the few and far between. I think it's more
Mhm.
like building relationships kind of over time, or in kind of a deep experience where you're like, oh, we're both here. We're both here to be vulnerable. We're both here to kind of get a little messy. We're both here for that. What else could be in like after this experience that we could also be friends. What do you think? How have you made some of
I
your
I think exactly, you hit it right on the head. These shared experiences. I think
yeah.
dipping my toe into retreats, or perhaps I have a church here that I belong
Yeah.
to, and like kind of raising my hand to kind of meet other people that like to do things I do. I also um, really like to do dance, and so I find that, I mean, that's pretty damn vulnerable. You get in there and you're just like, look at me, and you find other women that need that in their life too. They enjoy it. And so maybe like I wouldn't have crossed paths with them. And I think that has, and of course, being a parent, like sometimes you do naturally connect with other parents, because we have kids, and it's like we have similar stuff going on, similar available time, things like that. So I think that's what worked for me. But I remember being really lonely, like coming back from living abroad, and I had kids, and just sitting around and being like, but I'm not the same Rachel when I worked in New
Mm,
York City. I am so different now, and I love my friends, but there's just I'm not feeling like this is
yeah.
the unit, the group that so I will say time and patience, of course, and just find some fun hobbies to do together with others. Meetup was great in New York City. I remember
Yeah.
that. Did you ever do those meetup group things?
I only did one of like a nudie drawing class, and I was like,
Oh,
ooh. But I didn't meet anyone there, but I did yeah, have a great drawing class. But it was like it was one of those.
that's just like, let's do something crazy.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's
I
so funny. So I was hearing traits from you. I was
mm,
writing down a
yeah,
few
yeah,
about inspiring, champion, lover of life. Would you say there's anything we missed? Is like, I really feel like I'm combining to make some master art piece here or
totally.
something.
I, I know. You're making a
I,
quilt, aren't
I
you?
think so. It's an empowerment quilt.
I think the yeah, I think that the ability to sit with someone
Hmm.
and just hold
Hold
space.
space. Yep.
I honestly think that like the times in my life that have been really, really hard, so many people have said, what do you want to do to distract yourself? How can we get you through this? How do you do this? And it's like, let's take you out of the experience. But the people that I just remember, oh wow, that felt really good to me, was when they said, I'm just going to come over and sit with you.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you need, or just let's sit on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we're not talking. I know that sounds weird and awkward, but it wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that when you really trust someone and you allow someone to hold space with you and for you, there's some real magic that can open in that, for both the deepness of how that person feels, but also the connection
Mm-hmm.
between you and that friend.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
So where do we go from
Where
here?
where do we go? Let's talk about friendships all the
I
time.
love it. It's my favorite subject,
Yeah.
but I think that, um, this series has been an opportunity for me to remember like what great friends we have in our life that we can just have these talks with and reaffirm,
Yeah.
where we're
Yeah.
going, and what empowers us going forward. But also to be an empowering light, to make sure
Mhm.
that we're always paying it forward, and showing the next, like, I know every time that there's just a young new mom in town that comes through, I'm like, let's get a cup of tea. I can help you, navigating this mommy life. I'm sure that's stuff
Yeah.
that I would have loved to have had, which I
That's
didn't.
so nice. I love that you are that person that like that's like, let's do this. Like I'm gonna invite you in. And it's
Mm.
like you know those key people. I'm so glad that you're one of them that's
You
like, yeah, come
are too.
to our party. Well, thank you. But it takes it like a real vulnerability to say, like, come in. Yeah, we're doing
Right.
this. We're we're here together. And I think women crave belonging. They do. Like it's
Mhm.
natural in our in our
Mhm.
innateness. But and maybe men too. I don't know. But I think really, especially like, yeah, when you say like, let's do this, like let's have coffee. You're welcome here. Like
Mm.
even if you're like a circle of one already, it changes the energy in that person. It changes the energy in the whole space.
Mhm.
So I think there's something else that as you're talking, I also want to share like I think lifelong friendships are really, really interesting. And I think it's so easy to dismiss them if we've changed seasons of our lives.
Mm.
But I will say that I have like really, really deep lifelong friendships where we have grown in different ways. And we've also nurtured each other and said, like, I really honor your experience. I
Mm.
remember like a few years ago, I was like, I just want a few more like soul circle friends, like soul sisters. And with creating that intention, I actually started just having deeper conversations with the people who were already in my life. And
Oh.
two people who I would say like were a little bit more on the outskirts, like easily became very intimate friends, very close, very
Oh.
it was like, I mean, my mind was blown because I was almost like, I don't think that person. I don't think that person. And it was just like a little change in me that opened up something
Mm.
that allowed for different conversations with even the same people that are already in your life. So I will just
Mm.
say that too, because I
That's
think that's
a really, really good point. And I think that that's takes a lot of bravery, doing
yeah,
that and letting that relationship, lean into itself a little more.
shifting.
Or, oh gosh, yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's a great reflection. So, food for
totally.
thought, taking that into our relationships now. Okay, so before we pull a card, which I love to do at the end,
Ooh,
is
I'm so
kind of
excited.
it's it's just and it's always pretty amazing which card comes up based on like the flow of the conversation. I want to make sure for you to share what you have going on, how people can find you and work with you and connect with more of that amazing, amazing, insightful stuff you do.
Oh, amazing. Thank you for
Yeah.
asking. I mean, so one thing that like really goes into our conversation, I have one-on-one programs, I have group programs, but I think that the thing that I like really want to share today, because it goes
Mhm.
into this conversation, is I have this community of such deep and intentional women that meet every single Monday. We kick off the week
Mhm.
together, kick off the seasons together. We have like a deeper dive into when spring, summer, winter, and fall come around. And we shift the energy of our entire weeks by really being intentional and being mindful and sharing deeply. So I'll lead a meditation, I'll lead journaling, I'll always bring some topic in. Sometimes it comes from, topics that are happening in the world, or sometimes it's like an internal reflection. But it is by far the reason that I love Mondays now.
Mm.
And it's just such a beautiful community of women. So if you want to have more conversations like this, that is a space to not just tap into yourself, but also tap into a beautiful community. So it's called the Drop In Community.
Mhm.
And we meet for a half an hour every single Monday morning. Um, and yeah, and
That's
so
wonderful.
I can
That's
share the
perfect.
link with you. We
I'm
could link it out.
100%. I'm going to
Yeah,
get that, and when I put the replay, I'm going to put that in our captions for here, and I'll share that link around because
yeah,
if this is what you're looking for, if you're looking for that deeper connection in a space with other women doing that question work or wanting to just, I mean, Mondays are tough,
yeah.
as we all know, of really, that transition period from the weekend. Jennifer, I did get to visit one time and it's absolutely just what you need. It's the medicine that really can kick off your week with more of this, more of all of this stuff. And I needed that. I don't know. Whoever needs that, that's a wonderful place to grow and to share that there. So thank you, Jennifer, for sharing that.
Thank you.
And I just pulled out my animal deck because
Yes.
I
Yes.
love
Yes.
this deck. And this is so this is the Kim Kranz deck, but I just saw that beautiful Luna moth on the ground yesterday when I was
Mhm.
walking. So I've been very into the animal scene. Like, obviously it's springtime, lots of animal actions happening around here. So I'm just gonna cut and pull a card for us today. So I'm just gonna have us take a breath as I shuffle and kind of put intuition into maybe some beautiful imagery and message that wants to come through. Of course. All right. So I've pulled the card, which is amazing. This was actually the first card I ever pulled from this deck, which is the Black
Ooh.
Egg.
Yeah, that's one of the special ones at the end. That's amazing.
Yes, exactly. They have fire, they have the elements, and this is the spiritual
Yeah.
elements on here. So I'll read it briefly. Speaking from your authentic voice, the truth. Yeah. The black egg contains one of life's essential treasures, the truth. Inside of it resides no confusion, excuses, small talk, noises, or lies, not even the white ones. This living and breathing vessel harbors only that which rings true. When this essence is in balance, we speak slowly and clearly. We're drawn to activities like writing, reading, teaching, singing, or perhaps public speaking, perhaps women's circles. Sounds draw us in, books draw us in, and the concept of truth itself draws us in. We start asking questions like, what do I know to be true about myself?
Mm-hmm.
And what is true about the world? When the energy of the black egg is not yet accessed, we speak from an unsure place. We say things others want to hear. We gossip, or we might repeat stories to justify our subpar behavior. We might even try to convince ourselves that we have no inner truth at all. The energy of the black egg hovers and waits for us to reconnect. It is, oh, sorry, this page. It is available at every moment in every situation. It's the epicenter of truth and the birthplace of our voice. Holy moly, that was really beautiful way to sum up today.
That's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful card. Thank you for pulling that and for sharing that with us.
Mm,
What a gift.
I think a lot of truth was spoken here today, so I think that was a good energy for this card.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
How about?
this is cool,
Yes.
Rachel. Thank you so much.
Yes.
What an honor.
No, this was great. Thanks, Jennifer. And I'm going to put all of our details in the captions for you guys to connect with Jennifer. Come back. We'll be here again next week. And yeah, we'll see you around.
I love that.
Bye. See
Bye.
ya. Take care.